my time with Ryan was really had to cry.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
It was great. And it was it was what I needed to hear, and it definitely just lightened my load and brought just a really it brought me to a place where I needed to be. So I'm very grateful.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Ryan. Good job, Ryan.
Ryan.
Good job. Yeah. Anybody else want to share anything that came up for them in the group?
I'd love to share, Scott, just some things that I noticed as pointers. If you're starting to judge yourself about not doing something right, or you can just say, right now, I'm feeling really insecure, or I'm feeling embarrassed that I'm not doing this right. And again, that can be part of the weaving. And even if the other person starts to go, oh, wow, well, I feel insecure now that you might be saying that, it's like, can we breathe through the discomfort, right? That's intimacy. Can we be with the transparency? And when we speak what's alive for us, even if it's uncomfortable, often you notice the energy can shift and change because you're actually owning the truth of the experience, the resonance of what's most alive. And that's intimacy. So just please, let this be a safe space for you to come into the presence of what is in your experience. And the second thing is I really noticed in my group, less words. One thought, two thoughts, 2, 3 sentences, pause, breathe, and then again, allow the other person to speak. And as the other person's speaking, can I receive this in? Can I breathe and really take in, again, the reflection of what's coming up for them? So, because I noticed that, again, there's this thing when we become uncomfortable, we tend to fill this space more with words. And empathy and connection and intimacy is everything about slowing, it's literally like slowing time and space and moving into the frequency of what's so right here and getting close to it. So less words, slowing down, and again, breathe into the spaciousness of the space and then receive when you're, again, when you're opening to receive back.
Emily, I'm noticing, I'm looking at our time and we're good on time. And I'm wondering how it would be for people to go back and do the same exercise a second time. Just kind of having how many people like that idea? How many people would like to take another crack at it? Yeah, give a thumbs up if you'd like to do that. Okay, so we're gonna go back. And this time though, we're just gonna do it for, let's just maybe do it 6 minutes, 3 minutes each. All right, just to get into that rhythm a little bit with each other. Paul, since you just came in with us, I'm putting you into a room with Doug and Rebecca, and they can kind of share with you what the practice is. So Doug and Rebecca, since you are further along our love coach path, I'm putting Paul in with you. And Elia, go ahead. Elia has a question about clarification. So go ahead, Elia.
I'm just wondering, whenever you are, you share your empathy, then the other person says, when I hear you say that, are they supposed to be reflecting back what they think you're feeling or what they're feeling?
They're reflecting back whatever you said, what it evoked within them. So I'm listening, and then, when I hear that, I feel, that's probably kind of the thought process. When I hear that, I feel excited. So for example, when Emily talked about being kind of nervous and shy, my first feeling was, wow, I felt gratitude for her courage and how she's grown. So whatever it is that is evoked within you. So again, this isn't actually necessarily an empathy practice as much as it's a creating connection. It's creating a movement together to help you because this is who you're going to be working with throughout the evening, So that the purpose of this is just to create connection with each other.
And also build vulnerability and notice if you start making it again about them, where am I abandoning myself? Right? Because this is about the impact of what they share. This is now what's coming alive for me in relation to your share. And then you get to hear now what the impact is from the other. So it's again, really, if I'm focused so much on the other person, to what degree am I abandoning myself? Right? So again, this will be a practice and maybe seeing the ways that I'm so fixated on them that I've left what's coming alive for me. Because in a sense, empathy is the shared experience of the resonance of impact. So it's not defined as empathy, but it is a depth of connection and empathy practice.
Cool. Okay, so let's do this one for 6 minutes. And actually, I'm going to say 7 minutes. I'm going to bring you back at 7:20 Pacific time. So you got about 3 minutes each and a minute for the transition. So I'm opening up the breakout rooms. You're going to be with the same partners. And if any of you need help, just send me a message in the chat box. And remember to click join. So join your rooms, and we'll see you all in 7 minutes. Caraway, you need to click join room. Cheryl, you need to click join room. There you go. Hmm. Hmm. Angie, you need to click join room. Click join room, and that'll send you to the room with Karen. So somewhere on your screen, you should be able to see join room, and just click on that too, and that'll send you in to be with Karen. Are you hearing me, Angie? I can't hear you. You're muted. Okay, I've unmuted you.
Okay. So, yeah, I apologize. Oh, I said I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I kept getting a phone call, and I had to tell my girlfriend to not
That's
call.
okay. Can you just click join room, because I want Karen to make sure she has a partner. So can you
What
click?
do I do?
Just click where it says join room.
That's
Somewhere.
not on.
Are you on a phone?
Yeah.
Try shifting to the left or the right. Somewhere there's a place where you can join room.
No.
Let me try something else. I'm going to try going into her room then for a minute. Keep trying to see if you can find it. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to assign you. Okay, I see what happened. I'm going to assign you back to your room. So hang on a second.
Send me back to my room.
I'm sending you back to your room. Let's see. There was room 13. Okay, I see. Hold on a moment. Okay, you should see it now. Do you see?
I got it. Yep.
Okay.
There.
Okay.
So again, when I heard you say that, I'm feeling or I'm noticing.
When I heard you say that, I felt actually some relief and gratefulness that whatever I said helped pull you out.
Yeah.
And I had a sigh of relief, and I was glad that you seemed like you felt more, a little calmer.
Yeah, when I hear you say that, I feel closer to you through that appreciation.
Welcome back, everybody. Hello, Cher and Ruben. I'm so grateful that you guys are participating so much. And let me know how things are going, and let's check in with each other soon. Yeah. Okay, welcome back, Cheryl and Elia and Paul. And the whole group will be here in a sec. All right, welcome back, everybody. How was that enough time for you guys to get back into a rhythm with each other a little bit? Thumbs up if that was enough time to get, yeah, great. So just love to open it up for one share, and then Emily and I are going to kind of take you through preparing you for the next practice of actual empathy. But does anybody have anything they'd like to share? Any celebrations or ahas? Anyone? I'm looking for a hand to come up. Ah, Dijon, great. You're up.
I'm noticing that I'm feeling a lot of joy and excitement. And I also had the thought that if you ran for president, Scott, that I would vote for you.
Oh, well, thank you. That kind of took me out. When I hear that, I feel aw shucks, have kind of an aw shucks moment. And I really appreciate that because I have a lot of respect for you. So feeling your respect for me is really beautiful because I have a lot of respect for you. So thank you.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. Not what I was expecting. Kind of took me by surprise there.
I just want to share what I noticed in my group. It was super sweet is the more that I kept, I noticed that there was some vulnerability and kind of like some insecurity coming up again, like, am I doing this right? And I've noticed like the more that I created that safety and appreciation through that shared space of gratitude for that person's willingness to show up how they were, that again, it allowed them to kind of get into this like giggly space. So there was like that youthful sort of insecure, embarrassed, shameful place. But when we like able to like really just say, hi, like, it's okay that you're here. Like, it's okay that you're here. It turns into this like sweet giggliness. And so I don't know if anybody else had that experience, but if we can really lean into the discomfort and lean in with love, we'll notice that we'll get to these really sweet spaces. So I just wanted to share that kind of came up. We can lean in with love. There's a beautifulness that can happen.
Beautiful. Anybody else have anything they want to share? Okay. Oh, good. Eric from Canada. Eric from Vancouver.
In the Great White North. It was snowing yesterday. Yeah, I just want to say I'm really excited to be part of the course finally, and so I want to say hello to everybody. And I'm just very excited because I'm going to be a dad in 6 weeks. I'm pregnant, and she's 5th, and I'm full of excitement and fear at the same time. And I think that this is a good timing for me in this workshop to be able to help us navigate through our relationship and being a dad and being a parent too. So if anybody wants to share anything, if there's any parents out there, because I know it's like they're always talking about relationships between couples, but there's relationships between friends and also relationships between like with kids, right? So strategies around having conversations with children would be wonderful. Thank you. Love you guys. You're awesome.
Thank you, Eric. Eric, it was a little hard to hear you. So I just want to let everybody know, I'm going to kind of take a moment to just give you a little tech lesson with Zoom, because you always want to make sure your microphone level is up. So tech lesson, if you take your cursor all the way down to the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see a mute button. Just to the right of the mute button is a little arrow, looks like this. Click on the arrow. I want all of you guys to do that so you can learn how to set your audio options. Click on that arrow and you see where it says audio options. Click audio options and a white box should come on up. So you're going to click that little arrow, click audio options, and a white box will come up in the middle of your screen. Once that white box comes up, click where it says test, computer, mic, and speakers. That then opens up your option of setting your speaker and your microphone so that it's high enough so that you can hear us okay, and your microphone is high enough for us to hear you. Okay, so that's where you can adjust your settings. And for those of you who missed what Eric said, he's new to the Relationship Essentials course. He has a baby that's going to be happening very soon in his life. And I think what he was talking about was how these skills aren't just for couples, but they're for all sorts of relationships. I believe that that's what he was saying. And it's good to have you on board with us, Eric.
Thanks. Yeah, can you hear me better now?
Not much, a little bit better, but It's still pretty low.
All right, I can't really adjust the input volumes, so I'll have to play with it, or I'll just talk louder.
There you
So
go. That time we heard you.
I will just speak louder. So I just wanted to say that I'm hoping that if there's any parents out there and we want to have, if there's any conversations about relating with children as well, I would appreciate that because I'm going to be a new dad. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for asking for what you need. And, you know, one of the things we're going to start doing is practice groups led by some of our love coaches on very specific topics: how to manage children, how to manage high stress situations. We're going to start having more and more practice groups with particular themes. So,
Eric, I put the shout out in the chat box for you. And so if anybody can support Eric, you know, again, with maybe if anyone else is a father out there that maybe has some tips, tools, strategies, and or would like to have discussions around that, I would encourage to hit up Eric and make yourself known in the chat box.
yeah, it's really exciting watching how some of you are already beginning to practice with each other. And I really want to thank Anna Cabrera. She's been really taking a leadership role in creating practice with people. So if you're looking for a pod partner, or if you're looking for, you know, to find one or two people to practice with, put it in the chat box. And also for those of you in Relationship Essentials, which is most of you, post it in the Facebook group. Or let Emily and I know, and we'll try and pair you up with somebody. Okay?
So we're going to do go over some slides. Some of the slides we went over in the last Relationship Essentials course, but it's going to be going over some of the forms of empathy. And I'll go pretty quick because we do want to break you out into another practice group. So I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share. And again, you might be asking yourself, okay, well, so empathy, great, this stuff's awesome, but what are specifically the different forms of empathy that we can actually engage in? So Scott and I talk about that the most important form of empathy is self-empathy. And this is really, again, like Buddha said, if your compassion doesn't include yourself, it's incomplete. So how can we give ourselves that self-love, that compassion, that understanding, especially when we're triggered? And when we are hearing hard stuff or somebody is sharing hard stuff, that is usually when we're needing to give ourselves the most compassion. Like Marshall Rosenberg says, is the emergency doses of self-empathy. So those things that often when we're triggered, we can be defensive, right, and bite back. In those moments, can I be talking inside myself, wow, I'm really irritated. Wow, I'm really wanting to defend myself. I'm really needing to soften my heart right now. I'm needing to understand that I don't feel seen clearly. All of that can be going on inside of me while I'm still willing to be able to show up in presence for the other person. So again, self-empathy is such an important practice, and it's a very important skill set to develop by yourself, is just to check in at all times. What's going on with me? How am I feeling? What am I needing? And to really develop that as a skill. Scott, you want to talk about the next one? You're muted.
This is the primary form of empathy that we teach. And it's for any of you that have a history with nonviolent communication, this is very much what nonviolent communication teaches. And it's reflecting back feelings and needs. And again, what we want to do is we don't want to get lost in story. If we are wanting to receive empathy, the quicker we can get to, this is what I was feeling, and this is what I'm needing, or these were my values, the person listening can relate to that the most, because our feelings are universal and our needs and our values are universal. Likewise, when I'm giving empathy, I listen or imagine, what are they feeling? What are they needing? What values are alive for them? So sometimes you're going to hear it, for those of you when you're actually giving empathy. In some cases, the person's going to make it easy for you. They're going to state what their feelings and their needs and their values are. But other times they won't. They're going to be maybe a little bit too much in the story of it. So that's where you might have to listen and guess. So were you feeling frustrated? I'm imagining you wanted more respect. I'm imagining the possibility of you wanted to be seen clearly. We always want to say, I'm imagining or I'm guessing, as opposed to, oh, well, I know what was going on for you, right? We don't want to do it that way, but it's like we're imagining. And what's great about imagining is that's real empathy. We're not just in our head, but when I'm imagining that Emily was feeling kind of shy, I kind of remember what it's like to feel shy. Remember I said, wow, all of a sudden I feel like a teenage boy. Because what I did was I dropped in and I imagined what it's like for Emily feeling kind of girlish and nervous. And I remembered, what's it feel like to feel nervous? What's it feel like to kind of be shy and to be a teenager? And I remembered it so quickly that all of a sudden my next experience was feeling like a teenager myself. So that's the beauty of imagining feelings and needs. Does that make sense to everybody?
I'm going to do a quick example with Scott. So I'm going to totally be in the story, and I want you to translate feelings and needs.
Okay.
So when I came down this morning from the house down to the Bay Area, it was crazy. This asshole came up in front of me in the car and literally cut me off. And so what I did is I was like, I can't believe that person would do that. So I totally sped up and I flipped him off. And it was just crazy what he did back. And I could feel his anger, and I can't believe he was, why would he do such a thing?
Yeah, so Emily, I'm really hearing that on your drive down, you had an interaction that was scary. That I'm imagining that your need for safety wasn't met. And all of a sudden there's this stranger whose driving is dangerous to you. And then you got into an interaction, and I'm imagining you got triggered, you got scared, and maybe you reacted when you flipped him off.
I mean, no, it wasn't about my trigger. This guy was being a serious asshole. I mean, how could he just do that? How could he literally take his car like that and literally cut me off?
So I'm just really hearing you got scared and
I'm pissed.
Yeah, you're angry because, this guy was doing something that could really have had a very, very negative impact on you or the people around him. And
It's totally disrespectful.
So it didn't meet your need for respect. So you're really wanting more respect for the people that drive with you. Yeah,
like listening to the rules of the road.
So I'm really hearing you have a value for structure and order and the rules of the road.
Yeah.
And when that isn't met, you get pissed off.
Yeah.
Plus, you're looking for an excuse for your inner bitch to come out, okay?
Damn, motherfucker. I just was really wanting to do an example of like, what do you do when someone's giving empathy and you stay on it? And so it's just a good example, how when someone's doming, how do you still stay in empathy rather? Because you could easily go into judgment right there.
And in that example, actually, there's something kind of interesting. I'm pretty sure that underneath, just pretending that was real, underneath what was going on for Emily was fear.
Right.
But anger is a cover emotion. So she kept staying in her anger, which felt more powerful than the vulnerability of acknowledging that underneath it, she was actually scared.
Because actually what I did is once you said I was triggered, I felt like you judged me. So I became more pissed off. Now I'm acting, but if you said that, once you said that, I experienced judgment and it fueled my anger more. So it's just an experience of like, okay, you don't want to point out when someone's triggered, right? Because it could be like pouring gasoline on the fire. So it actually escalated me back into the anger. And so I wanted to give this example because it's really important. Like, how do we give empathy when people don't have this language?
And another thing I could have done that I didn't, because I just wanted to kind of demonstrate how to listen for feelings and needs. But once I realized that she was just really needing to rant, then the other option is just to go into tell me more. Because sometimes people just need to vent. They don't want empathy. They just want to vent. And that's kind of, in a sense, kind of where your character just now might have been going, where she wanted to vent.
Right. But once you acknowledged my anger, I said, did you see? Yeah, I'm pissed off. And then I was like, whoa, you got me. And then I settled down a little bit. So
in a
you can go
moment,
back to the screen
you
share.
all go back to your partners. We still have to look at the other ones. That's right. We have a couple of other ways.
Go ahead. This is the next form of empathy.
So this is called weaving my story with yours, or your story with the other. And this is appropriate if someone is sharing an experience that's very similar to an experience that you've had yourself. Now, we don't want to steal the thunder. So what we don't want to do is say, oh my God, you think that's bad? I had a similar experience, but it was even worse. Let me tell you about me. You don't want to go there. But what you do want to do is sometimes if you've had a similar experience, you go, oh my God, I can really relate to that. I had a similar experience last week. Or God, when I have things like that happen to me, I also get really scared and frustrated. But please tell me more. You just 1 or 2 sentences to let that person know you've had a similar experience, but you don't go off on your experience. You just let them know about it, maybe 1 or 2 sentences, and then take it back to them. Tell me more. Tell me more about that. So you're letting them know I can relate because I've had a similar experience. You're muted, Emily. Okay, now we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. A great example of this is a week ago, I had a client who had a miscarriage. And I've never had a miscarriage, but I have had an abortion. And I was really able to drop into what it was like to feel the loss of the child that I was going to have, and able to really feel in that deep space. So that was, again, an example of how I used something from my life that really was able to weave into my imagining of what was coming up for her.
Emily, why don't you talk about embodied empathy? Because I want to get to
Okay.
get your rooms ready.
This is a form of empathy that Scott and I actually kind of created based in what we found actually really works for us and what we love to take clients into. This is what I would say is the deepest form of empathy. And it's what we call embodied empathy, which is I'm willing to feel fully in my body your feelings and your uncomfortable sensations and what's alive for you. I'm willing to go that intimate with you. And some of the words, the things that we use in that experience is, I'm curious where you feel that in your body. What sensations are alive for you? If that feeling had a voice, what would it say? That's like a deeper experience of helping the person really go into what's coming up for them. What does it feel like to allow that part of you to be present as it is? What would that part of you in your body like to express? So these are some of the lingos or the things that we use when giving embodied empathy. I'll be like, wow, when you shared that, I'm noticing my heart kind of clenching down. I'm noticing, I'd love to hear what's coming up for you. So it's that weaving. I'm noticing this is what's happening, what's coming up for you. And so it's, again, sharing that you're willing to go that deep into that person's experience. So this is what I would call a very deep and intimate form of empathy. But literally, I just want to be vulnerable. Scott and I had a lot of challenges in our relationship, and he was looking for empathy, and I wasn't able to give him the kind of empathy that he wanted, and I felt very frustrated. I would reflect back feelings and needs, and he just didn't feel like the quality of love and care that he really wanted. And what we found is that because he wanted me to go deep into the sensations of the embodied experience inside his body, and for me to feel that with him, and then he was able to feel that I really got him. So this is a pretty deep form of empathy, and but I encourage you guys, if you feel compelled to kind of bring this into your sharing, it's a very powerful form. You're muted, Scott.
I've got the rooms pretty well set. If any of you need help, let me know. I'm going to put Linda Switzer and Steve Rowland has joined us. I'm going to put you guys in with people that are kind of new to this so that you can provide them with support. And Emily, I'm going to keep you in the room with Karen and Angie, if that's okay, so you could also continue to help them. And if anybody else needs support, let me know. Let's 10 minutes. So 5 minutes for one person to start with what they want to receive empathy for and receive it, and then 5 minutes and then switch partners. So you're each getting a chance to give and receive empathy. You can choose if you want to reflect back feelings and needs, if you want to do embodied empathy, or if you want to do weaving my story in with yours. And if anybody needs help, raise your hand and I'll try and come on into your room. I am opening up the breakout rooms.
Hey, Scott, can I just ask a quick question? We're giving each other empathy. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Taking turns giving and receiving empathy. And I put you in with a new couple that's one of our new couples in Relationship Essentials.
How long do we have time?
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So 5 and 5. 5 and 5. And you can just watch unless they want you to demonstrate giving empathy, which they might.
Sure. So I'm just observing them give empathy to each other.
Right. And click join so you can go to their room. Chrissy, you're a little too much. A little bit too much. Slow down. Slow down. There seems to have left in the case.
Okay. Oh, here's
There's Scott.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure that Linda was back and that that Terry's getting some support.
Yep.
Okay,
John,
great.
I said John had left. He was originally in our group, but he's not here anymore.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I put 2 people in with you just because John sometimes comes in and out because he's East Coast, so that's why I put you in with 2 people.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool.
All right, I'm gonna go help somebody else.
He's been awesome.
Terry, you're in great hands with Linda. She's an amazing love coach.
Oh yeah, she's been great. I'm really
She's awesome.
been helping a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
See you in a bit. Elia. Hey.
Yes, sir. Hey, there's Cheryl.
What happened to you guys?
You're muted. Cheryl.
Yeah, my computer's crashed 3 times today, so that was the 3rd time.
Hey,
So that's
are you two wanting support, or what's going on with the two of you?
I just got done saying that my computer crashed, and so I had to reboot and come back on. So that's
Okay.
what's been going on.
Okay. And Elia, are you able to hear me?
Uh-huh.
Are you two wanting to go back into a room to work together?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just got back on.
Thank you.
All right.
So I'm going to assign you. What room was Elia in?
I think it was 5.
Yeah, room 5. Okay. So I'm reassigning you to room 5, and both of you
thanks,
have to
guys.
click join. Just click
All
join
right.
and you'll be good.
Thank you.
Sure.